Hello, lordies and gentlefolk. Welcome to G for G here on YouTube. Today we're taking a look at Marvel Future Fight. I'm your host, Napalm Dawn, and I'm going to call this the Asgard update. What an utterly amazing update this is. I mean, I've been with Marvel Future Fight since just about the beginning, but I was never super serious about it until after Marvel Avengers Alliance died. That's when I was like, okay, this one kind of jumped up and became the kind of like my primary side game. And as I've said in a lot of my videos, side games are anything that is not console and not a primary PC game. Here's a Storm, World of Warcraft, stuff on Steam, you know, things that I would call mobile or Facebook. So Marvel Future Fight has kind of taken over for Marvel Avengers Alliance, and I know some people have gone over to Monster Legends, and there's been other games, but MFF is now like the big side time sink and like the money sink that Marvel Avengers Alliance would have been. Since I've really paid attention to Marvel Future Fight since MAA died, this is like the biggest thing I've seen in the game so far. It's more than just uniforms and heroes. It's like an expansion pack. This is like Legion for World of Warcraft to a certain degree, so let's jump right in and take a look at it. And hopefully the video won't run too long, but there's a lot of stuff to deal with in this one. So let's take a look. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna while it's loading over here, just gonna make sure my microphone is not some things every now and then like jack around with the volume low. Okay, we're good. Alright. No background video there. Gonna tap the screen. I don't think it'll be loading anything. So, I'm happy to report through careful planning and purchasing, I was able to get my Doctor Strange past the 4 rank 6 BAMs earlier today. God, fuck that quest. Utterly. Oof. So, alright, my dailies are done. That's out of the way. Here is Enchantress. Looking pretty good. New with the green balls. Face and body pretty solid. Classically Amora there. But that thumbnail, that thumbnail is just so not pretty. It's smirky. It reminds me of old Carol Channing in Lamb Chop or something. Just not attractive. Here's Hela. Pretty classic Hela, too. It's Hela. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Here is my current roster. T2, Sharog, definitely one of the anchors of the team. Songbird is a semi-recent T2 for me. Really happy I went with her. Over in the group that I'm in, not a lot of people talk about her as a tier 2, but I really enjoyed playing with her. No pun intended there or anything. And I was like, I want to go for it. I want to step outside the box and shoot for it. And she's actually really good. Like, I'm happy I did it, and people weren't crapping on that decision as much as I thought they would. But more on that in a moment. Tier 2, T2, Elsa, my Doctor Strange is just about done. Put a lot of effort, because, like, seeing a quest just hang out there, I just want to get it done and just have my freedom in the game again. Because it seems like Doctor Strange is just like, it grabs your attention, you want to get through it, you just want to get it done, and just have everything back to normal. I T2'd Moon Knight last night. My Carnage has been T2 for a while. Ultron was my first because of the high chance of getting his bios and everything. This is the one that a couple people question, like, oh my god, you T2'd Ultron? And my Proxima's getting there. And Shuggy, Supergiant, is my most recent Black Order. And I've got some of them up and coming. And then my non-tier 2s, Blackbuster, White Tiger, Ronin, Hype, Satana, new uniform Silk, more on that in a moment. Bling Pin, as some people call him, or Blast Kingpin, Ant-Man, Deathlock, and Black Widow. Iron Fist is coming up. Ancient One is also coming up and getting close. Quake kind of is, because their missions farmed a lot. Of these that are coming up, Iron Fist and Yellow Jacket are considered ones that I should push for. Also Gwenpool. Over here, Clea's on her way up, as is Damon. And actually, Venom's got 5 levels to get. Or I should say, Zombie Venom over here. He needs to get back into leveling. So, this is my main team. It's my PvP team. It's like the go-to big guys. This is a leveling team currently being anchored by Songbird. This is my team whenever I need a Doctor Strange. But now that he's 55, I think I will jack this up as a completely magic team over here. So let's get him. Let's move him there. And where's Mordo? We should put Mordo over there. There's Mordo. Okay. And then this is a leveling team to give the main leveling team a break. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the new guys that we've got coming up over here. So I used today's daily bio on Enchantress. Blast Enchantress. This is the only form that she comes in. Has no alternate uniforms. She is a energy attacker. And let's take a look at her skills. So she's the paywall character. Your monthly sub can be devoted to her. And it just so happened, what I like to do is when I get in for the first of the day, unless I know specifically that I'm working on somebody, I hold the bios until I look at my team and then decide where I want to go. Sorceress Whip, energy damage, adds energy damage, 6-second cooldown. Maiden's Farewell, more on this one in a moment. Energy attack with adding energy damage. Sorceress Sphere, apply to self. She guards for 5 hits over 5 seconds. Energy attack, energy damage, 14-second cooldown. So this is one of the ones where you want your cooldowns to be quick. Spellbound, 70% rate when Maiden's Farewell skills used. That's that. Apply to the enemy. Charm. I don't know if that means it converts the enemy for 5 seconds into being on your side. Kind of like summoning a Loki clone or an Ultron bot, a drone bot. And how this plays out with bosses probably has no effect on bosses and the Frost Beasts and Alliance battles and stuff. But when you get ads on the Frost Beasts or World Bosses, that might work. Fatal Illusion, a 3-second stun, pretty decent. And down for 10 seconds. Enchanted Entrapment. Apply to the enemy, remove active buffs from the target and energy damage. That could be interesting. Her T2 is Asgardian Goddess, guaranteed dodge, plus 18% increase. 30% increase to skill damage, 20% increase to bonus damage. Enhances the effect of the skill Spellbound. So that's a weird loop over there. That loops into Spellbound, which loops into Maiden's Farewell. And then finally her leadership is all team members increases all debuffs effect by 5%. Not exactly too sure what they're going for in that one. So she's an energy attacker. So you want to build her that way. Remember, whatever you see here in the top slot is their even if you see an ability with physical damage, you always want to build towards what it says right here, right below the level. Alright. Now, let's take a look at the rest. So, we have Ulik, and you can get him from the new story. Here he is. He's the king of the trolls. He is your first guy that you start tangling with. Kind of looks like Redhead Beast. And he's got a leadership of physical attack. He's got a passive of when dealing critical attacks, all skill cooldowns reset. Finally, somebody who is really crit heavy. I mean, this is... You see crit, you know, crit special items and everything like that. And, you know, I stack them on some people that I think crit kind of works out on. Let's say, like White Tiger and whatnot. But here is a guy in Ulik who legitimately is crit based. So finally, you can take all of your like super fancy crit obelisks and really get him on this guy. And it's gonna really matter over here because, you know, a 30% chance when he crits to reset all his skills just seems absolutely massive. His T2, Unconquerable, apply to self. Critical damage goes up. 15% increase to the critical rate. All damage reduced. So, it really seems for this guy, you want to do everything to T2 him, and then build him for crit. And he's a physical attacker. Physical attack. 7 seconds. Apply to the enemy 2 second stun. Physical attack 8 seconds. Troll's Roar, apply to self, a damage increase to hero types. And he is physical damage immune to 5 seconds. So he's actually almost playing out like a world boss. Knuckle Barrage, physical damage 11 seconds. This one's 15, long cooldown there. And Troll Stomp, another stun. Yeah, Ulik is gonna be good. I mean, he's got 2 stuns, a damage booster with immunity, and a very, very easy crit build on this guy. Yeah, I think I will... He's going to be one of the guys that I'm going to push, for sure. Up next, we have Hogun. So, slightly different than the Hogun that we're used to from Marvel Avengers Alliance, but fairly close. No cloak, but he still has the bone-crunching mace over here. It looks like it really shatters bone. A little bit more Mongolian-looking than the Hogun that we had, with the very spiky hat. Also looks a lot like an outfit Arnold Schwarzenegger wore as Conan in one of his movies. He wore something similar to this. So he's a physical attacker also. And he comes from story missions. You can get 10 a day with these guys, so you'll be able to recruit him pretty easily. Iron Will for his leadership. All team members have an all attack. Blunt Trauma. Apply to self. The critical rate goes up. Sudden Outburst. Activation rate. 50% chance when attacking. Apply to self. 25% increase to all critical rate. Accumulates 10% of true damage dealt to the enemy regardless of defense and dodge. The total accumulated true damage cannot pass 10,000. Increase a critical... This one's just sounds complicated as hell, but it reminds me of his shout from Marvel Avengers Alliance to a certain degree. 3 second stun, physical damage, 7 second cooldown, Iron Mace, physical damage, 8 seconds. Mace Enchantment. Apply to the enemy, all defense down. Apply to himself, physical attack up. Adds physical damage, 12 second cooldown. Iron Fury, a stun. 2 stuns on this guy too, wow. And Hogun's Formation, summon the self. Apply to self, summon an illusion that has 75% of the summoner's stats for 10 seconds, and it's down for 18. Not a bad uptime on this. Remains to be seen if that illusion holds aggro, like the Ultron ones, Or if it's a Loki ones where it just does stuff. Okay, moving on. There's Hogun. We have next Volstagg. So this is very different from the Volstagg that us MAAers are used to. This is what I like to call the Fat Santa Claus Volstagg. This is how Volstagg has originally looked. Very Norse with the beard. Very Viking with the beard. The super big gut related to food. The sword, unlike ours, which was an axe. So this is this is how Volstagg used to be represented. If you look at old Warriors of 3 stuff, this is it. Very, very classic Volstagg over here. I prefer the more modern Volstagg that we had in Marvel Avengers Alliance, because this is just, it's just clownish to me. It's the colors in the hat, but he's pretty badass. A lot of people have been talking about Volstagg. Bodyguard. All team members have their defense up. Pretty good for world bosses and everything. One passive, Gourmet Gut. Apply to self. Super armor. All defense goes up. So he's probably good to swap in when a world boss is doing an enrage. Like, I tend to bring Hulkbuster in for that. I think Volstagg would be a good stand-in for that. Lion of Asgard. Apply to heroes in the team who are not villains. All damage received reduced by 20%. This guy is probably going to be a real good world boss anchor. Physical attack, 7 seconds. Reflect 50% of received physical damage. Adds physical damage. Voluminous blow. Apply to self. All speed goes up. Interesting for him. Immune to all damage for 5 seconds. Yeah, he's a world boss anchor. Enormous earthquake. He's got a stun. And he's got an illusion just like Hogun has. So he only has 1 stun. Ironically, we've been looking at so many that have had double stuns. He only has 1. Here we have Errol Flynn Fandral over here. Looking really like Robin Hood. So the thumbnail looks a lot like the Fandral that we're used to and everything. The outfit's a little bit different. He's another physical attacker. His leadership is everybody gets speed. Parry stance. Activation rate 50% when attacking. His damage goes up by 120% 2 times over 7 seconds. My god. Sounds beastie. Countermeasure. Apply to self. Guaranteed dodge. 30% increase. Enhances the effective skill parry stance. So here we have another passive buffing a passive. It sounds like T2ing him might be lower priority than some of the others because it only applies to himself. A lot of T2s apply to the team. So maybe he's a little bit lower for that. Dashing strike, physical damage, 8 seconds. Physical damage, handsome blade. Sidestep slice, physical damage, 9 seconds. Dancing blade, 11 seconds, physical damage. Fandrel's formation, there's the illusion. So Fandrel seems very straightforward. Just no stuns, nothing fancy, not even a bleed, which you think he might have had. He's just a straightforward attacker. So it doesn't sound like rushing Fandrel up is maybe a high priority. It could be mistaken, it just doesn't feel like it. Here's Hela. She's an energy attacker, as you might expect. Slightly different than the Helas that we're used to, but pretty close, very recognizable. Gathering of the Dead, all team members get their energy attack up. This is going to be very good for Sharog and Doctor Strange. Death's Embrace. Apply to self. Increase all attack and defense of summoned characters. Increase to hit points, duration, increase of summoned characters. So it might be good for people like Loki. Throne of Niflheim. Apply to self. Guaranteed dodge. Increases all debuffs effect by 25%. I think that means maybe all the debuffs that she puts out. There's that all debuffs again. Energy attack, but no debuff. Here we go. Night Sword Stab. All resistances go down. All attack goes down. All defense goes down. Her energy attack goes up. 7-second cooldown. That's pretty quick. That's a nice ability right there. Merciless Queen. There's an illusion. 18 seconds. It's up for 10. Night Sword's Glow. Apply to the enemy. Reduce the all debuffs effect used by the hero. See, I just admittedly don't know what that is. Reduce effects of all buffs. That's obvious. 12-second cooldown. And finally, Goddess of Death. A blind and its energy attack. So we've seen blind in Songbird. She's got that too. And then finally, we have Odin. Looking pretty badass right here. Awesome looking sword. Love the armor. Love the way the light and the reflections bounce off of that. He's an energy attacker, believe it or not. And fortunately, they didn't go overboard with the universals, because with Doctor Strange, there's so many universals in that one. But here we have combat, 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 speed, 2 universals, and Enchantress's Blast. Blast didn't get a lot of love there, but at least it's not gobs of universals again. Leadership. All team members' activation rate when they get debuffed. Removed all debuffs. All resistances get a boost. Cooldown time, 30 seconds. So long cooldown time, but hey, cleaning off debuffs the moment they appear, pretty good. Odin's Decree. All damage received reduced by 30%. Wow. Yay. That's nasty. All Guard. Apply to self. Cancel resistances. Increase the skill damage. Energy attack. 5 seconds. That's pretty quick. Odin Charge. 7 seconds. Energy. Asgardian Barrier. All team members guard against 1 hit for 2 seconds. Energy damage. Pretty cool. Odin's Wrath. Energy. 9 seconds. And Odin Force. A blind. To himself, he goes immune to all damage for 3 seconds. Adds energy damage. So Odin's going to be another one that's just going to be like a strong anchor for your team like Ulrich. And here's how my Black Order's going. Corvus, Ebony, Black Dwarf. I don't tangle with Thanos too much, in all honesty. Black Dwarf, definitely a back burner for me. I hate Black Dwarf days. I like Corvus because he's squishy. And I like Ebony Maw too. So, taking a look at the uniforms. I've picked up a couple already. I have not grabbed the Sif one yet, so we'll take a look at her. I haven't grabbed her yet because she's pretty simple. Just apply to self. Speed goes up. I mean, yeah, you get the stat boost, but does anybody really use Sif for anything? Very classic outfit, though. And 5 of her abilities change. So, like, almost everything she does just straight up changes. But, you know, it's Sif. I'm not really in a hurry to pull the trigger on that uniform. So, let's take a look at the other ones we have available. I picked this one up for Thor. It's the Unworthy Thor. Keeps him as universal. And it changes a bunch of his abilities to be very, very lightning based, which is good because now you can start slapping those plus lightning obelisks on him and have it really mean something. Apply the uniform, all damage reduced by 15%. That's why I picked it up. Seems pretty solid. Nothing for Loki, so he still is stuck on Fem Loki, which is kind of what you would expect. Silk has got a new uniform. Websuit. One that everybody kind of likes to cosplay Silk, but it's the harder one to pull off. One of her skills changes. And it just kind of adds a little bit less physical attack. That's what it is. It doesn't really change that much. But she gets, of course, the 10% and apply to self. 2-second increase the duration of time of web. So her stuns, per se, go up a little bit more. Plus, it's just a cool look to her. And I think that is about it. We had Silk, we had Thor, and we had Sif. So let's take a look at the ones that we have yet to T2, and then we'll move on to the rest of what we've got. So, here are all the new ones. As you can see, I have Enchantress. And you're going to be pushing Ulrich pretty hard. And probably Odin. Actually, I think I would be pushing everybody hard, with Fandral being last place. And maybe Volstagg slightly above that. So the ones we have yet to T2 in the universe, not me. Loki, probably because Floki or Fem Loki is so strong. They're probably not going to push that one pretty quickly. Doc Ock, generally considered trash. Destroyer's kind of surprising. See, I think they are reluctant to tier 2 really shit characters, and at the same time, really amazing characters, and probably go for the middle of the packers. That's why Floki and Hulkbuster aren't up there, because Femloki and Blackbuster are so good. And that's why I think like Doc Ock and Elektra are running late, because they're considered garbage. Destroyer, I would like to see a T2 for him. It would probably be kick-ass. Luke Cage. Angela, I would love Angela to get tier 2 so she could be a fire trio with Satana and Damon. Elektra, Kingpin. Kingpin is considered pretty strong for Blastpin, so that's probably why he probably goes with Loki and Hulkbuster. Bullseye's considered garbage. I think that's Quake. Deathlock is considered pretty good at 6 stars and everything. Lincoln Campbell, Coulson, Jessica Jones, Amadeus Cho. Kamala Khan is considered trash in my book. And Jane Thor, which I think she kind of ranks in the good one, but I don't think she ranks in like the super best. Ones that I think shouldn't have been T2'd yet: Miles Morales, Wasp, Daredevil has a T2, which is like mind-blowing. MODOK. Malekith, I think, is now considered farmable from what I heard. Yep, chapter 11.4. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got going on now. If we go to mission, we have a whole new chapter, and it is chapter 11. Ha, ironic. As you can see, you get some Oleg ones, you get Malekith, you get Volstagg, Fandral, Hogun, and back to Volstagg again. And then in chapter 12, Hela, Fandral, Hogun, Volstagg, Thor, Fandral, Hogun, Thor, and it wraps back around. So, I mean, you have a lot of farming that you can do, and den times on all these is pretty nice. Also, under World Boss, nothing particularly changed over here. Today is Corvus Day, so I need to get on that before the turnover. But if we go to Arena, we now have World Boss Invasion. And there's Oleg over there. I have not actually tried this yet, so I don't really know what this is. Rank mastery skill selected to increase to its max. Gear enhancement. Okay. Clear the stage with less than 3 speed type heroes. That should be easy enough because he's combat, so I wouldn't want to run with Blast. The selected hero stats will be changed, so energy attack. interesting. You know what? I can bring Moon Knight for that. I should bring an energy attacker. I have no idea what this is going to do. I really don't. And I don't typically like to do the harder stuff on emulators. I like to do that on my tablet so I have full control. Like, I'll run any of the autoplay stuff when I'm doing an emulator, like the dailies and the specials and the Dark Dimension and everything like that. Even a Villain Siege, if pushed. But world bosses, alliance battles, all that kind of stuff, I like to do on the tablet to have full touch controls. I know there are some emulators where you can bind the movement part to keybind. You know, like arrows or WASD and so on, but I haven't done that, which is why I just prefer to always do that on my tablets. So, interesting thing to note, if you run Doctor Strange against the Alliance battles, I've seen this with my own Doctor Strange, he can freeze the Frost Beast. I was quite shocked. Didn't expect to see that. So this is interesting. It jacked up my Doctor Strange to a full-on 6660. It's pretty cool. I haven't had to swap him out. So it kind of reminds me of co-op, but a little bit harder. But I like that it's a great equalizer, though, so it means you can maybe knock the dust off of some people that you never play because they're just too low on your roster. I think he's getting frozen. I think I am, in fact, yep, that's pretty sure that gold over there is Ulrich getting locked down. I don't know that Ulrich has ever managed to defeat Thor. I think he teamed up with some people and put a number on Thor, but I think solo he's never really been able to do anything up against him in the comics and whatnot. Or the lore. Alright, so there's the new World Boss co-op. So it has co-op style things of the best player. It looks like I placed a somewhat close second. Open chest instantly. Oh, okay. Alright, I don't want to spend crystals for that. Mission failed? Oh, because they... Oh, man, those dum-dums brought in speed. Is that what did it? Let me see what the hell that was. Clear the stage with less than 3 speed-type heroes. I 2 seem to be less than 3. Defeat the boss, acquire a supply chest slotted. So, it's going to unlock in about 15 minutes. And, okay, so the ones that I used are definitely down. I didn't bring any speed. Huh. Maybe one of them had too many speed, aside from just what we saw out on the field, but, okay, so, you know, typical of co-op. You use a character and it's gone for a while. Not too sure why we failed there, because at least at the end it only seemed like we had the 2 speed, and 2 is less than 3, but there is the new World Boss Invasion over there. Alliance Battle, of course, nothing changed over here. It's Female Day. I still need to do that. So, I think it is time for me to go ahead and wrap up the video and start rendering it and get to my stuff that I like to do on the tablet, which is the World Boss, the Alliance Battles, and now I think I'll do this co-op on the tablet too. And I think for Female Day, I will probably be going with her and Songbird and Elsa. That's going to be pretty good for Female Day. I could put Loki in there, but I like this lineup. It's pretty kick-ass. So there you go, guys. There is the new Asgard update. We've looked at the new heroes. We have looked at the new uniforms. We have looked at the new World Boss Invasion. By the way, if you click it, it still goes to the same spot. And that just about wraps it up. Of course, we still have Dimension Rifts available. And my progress on the Epic Quest for Strange. As you can see, the research is complete. I now have to do, I believe, 3 Darknesses with a Strange team. Dr. Strange must be used to clear Dimension 3 times. So, that's where I am over here, and I think I'm in the final home stretch. Yay, I'm going to have him all leveled up, and then I can go back to worrying about world bosses again. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the update. Peace out, everybody.